It's that time again. Yes, it is. Oh, yes, it is that time again. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to episode 3 of 27 Outs. I am Ivan alongside Stefan. If you're here after checking out the first and second episode, shout out to you. We appreciate the love. By the way, I know Stefan is also going to give his thanks as well, too, but what you guys did for episode 2, I think they gave us, what was it, 100 views in like 3.5 days, 4 days?
Yeah, it's crazy. We're at 107 right now for the second episode, and we're at 115 for the Garrett Cole clip last I checked.
And that was, they got us to 100, I believe it was in like a day and a half.
Not yet. Crazy.
Yeah. Shout out to you guys. So keep doing what you guys are doing. We really appreciate it. For those who aren't following us on Instagram, make sure you follow us on the gram at 27outs3c. And of course, the YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel because that's where you're going to get the clips, the episodes. For those who aren't able to tune in live, shout out to you guys too. We don't want to forget about the people who are not able to tune in live because, you know, life is real and things happen. You might have other things to do.
Replay gang. Shout out to the replay gang. Yes, sir. You guys mad at too.
All right, so let's get right into this. The Seoul Series. I don't know why when I say Seoul Series, I think about the Godfather from wrestling. That's a wrestling analogy. That's the random thought. But yeah, the Seoul Series, Dodgers and Padres. I'm sure we're gonna see a whole lot of action between these two teams this upcoming season. And I'm looking forward to it. Honestly, to start the season off like this, having these two, I wouldn't say both of them are monsters. I think the Dodgers are more of the monster, but I think the Padres, listen, they lost Blake Snell. They lost Josh Hader. You traded Juan Soto, but outside of that, man, they have a little something still. I wouldn't rule them out completely. I mean, you still have Manny Machado. You still have Xander Bogaerts. You got Fernando Tatis Jr. We're going to get into this a little later on, but you played a little spoiler as well. So, you know, the Padres, they got something going for themselves right now, Stefan.
Also, you just traded for one of the best pitchers in baseball, if you didn't know. Like, AJ Preller just said, oh, we're getting on a plane to Korea. Bam, I'm going to make an earth-shattering trade. That just sends baseball into like, oh my goodness, what is he doing?
That's exactly why I mentioned them playing spoiler, because last week it was a completely different vibe. I mean, we were hearing that the Yankees had re-engaged, you know, their trade talks with the White Sox at the time for Dylan Cease. And then, like you said, here comes the Padres like, nah, I think we need him more than you guys do. Which, honestly, I think both teams are in need. I think the Yankees are definitely the team who could have benefited him the most. But like I said, the Padres definitely still have something going on for themselves. And I like this pickup.
All right. So let's talk about the series first, and we'll dive into the trade and what it all means afterwards. All right. I'm not a fan of this. I'm going to say off the rip, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of the 2-game series. I'm not a fan of it taking place in Seoul, South Korea. I'm not a fan of the season not starting in the United States. When you're having problems domestically getting ratings for your channels, your networks, your teams, whatever, we're going to play a series in Seoul, South Korea at 6 a.m. You telling me this is good for the game? That's why I said, if you read the question today, when I put the status up for the show, I asked, is the Seoul Series good for baseball? And to me, the answer is a flat out no. The answer is a no. And you could tell me, oh, that's not fair to say. And like, they're trying to grow the game. I get it. But how about we grow it domestically first? How about we grow it here instead of trying to grow it so it's played in South Korea when the majority of the people who watch your product won't be up for these games because you have work. Now I'll be watching the games because I'm crazy. I'll be up at 6 a.m. because I don't care.
Right.
But the majority of the people that you're catering towards, tell me how this is good.
I do understand your point, and I don't want to say I disagree with you entirely, Stefan, but I'm going to be honest. I'm all for this expansion, and I get it. The United States baseball is it top 3? I know it's not 1 or 2. Number 1 is definitely football.
Number 2 is the
would
NBA.
be basketball. And then number 3, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's hockey in front of baseball because there aren't that many. I'm just saying, bro, there's a lot of people who dislike baseball, but you're right. The hockey love just isn't, how it should be for the hockey.
That's no offense to Nick, Big Dog. We know that's your sport.
Yeah, shout out to Nick. Yeah. What I do want to say, though, and the reason why I like this is, like, I get it, even though you are, of course, obviously still trying to cater to a younger demographic as well here in the U.S. I think this is a way for Major League Baseball to kind of like this is like giving thanks to the other countries that love the sport. Like, I love the fact that they have games in the Dominican Republic. I like the fact that they go to Puerto Rico. I like the fact that, you understand what I'm saying? Well, so all these places are not where you're trying to grow the game at, I think this is a way for those people who live outside of the U.S. to still enjoy these games, whether it be a 2-game series, as you mentioned, because if it doesn't happen, you're literally only watching it just like this, which is through a screen.
Okay, so while I'm not mad at your premise, and I agree with your point, don't make it the opening series of the season and make these games count, is my point. If you're going to do it, make the series a little later on in the year. Don't do it where it's the first series of the weekend, the first series of the so-called regular season.
Right.
And you're putting the Dodgers and Padres at a disadvantage from everyone else. That's why it's not fair.
And then shouldn't this really be considered opening day? If you want to be technical, I get opening day. True opening day is when most teams are playing.
It's on the 28th.
Right, exactly.
By the way, there will be a show that day. I don't mean to cut you off, but there's going to be a show opening day night, 8 o'clock, right here, YouTube.
Special edition.
You know what I mean? Matter of fact, I'm going to post a link for that show when this show is finished so you guys can get ready to start preparing you guys selves. But
that's going to be fun. Two shows in 1 week. That's going to be interesting.
I will tell you guys, like, I don't hate the overall premise, bro. Grow the game. That's beautiful.
MLB needs to thank the American public for continuing to watch the sport through all the bullshit that Rob Manfred has done to the game since he's been commissioner. You're right, Rick.
I mean, I can't argue with any of that point cannot be argued at all. Shout out to Raisin for making the point. But when you're talking about the American consumer being 95% of your game or 95% of your audience, like going to Korea for 2 regular season games to start the season, that's a bad look. That's like the NBA starting opening night in South Africa a week before everybody else plays.
So let me ask you this: with this still, I know you talked about them counting the games, but with this still being considered spring training overall, right? Every other team hasn't actually played a game that counts towards their regular season record.
Right.
But would you rather it be a spring training game? Like, all right, you guys want to go out there and show some love? By all means, but don't let it be a game that counts.
Yes, because now, let's say, for instance, right? You know why Dylan Cease had to fly all the way to South Korea? Because let's say the Padres run the bullpen options and one of the games goes to extra innings. Guess what? He got a pitch. Bro. That's not good.
Right. And then the time difference too. Like, I don't know what it is to be exact, but I'm sure it's pretty crazy.
It's nuts. And the fact that people gotta, like, if you want to watch these games, if you're a Padre Dodger fan, you gotta get up at 3 a.m, bro. When most people work the next day, because these games are on a Tuesday and a Wednesday. Explain it to me.
Right. No,
Explain what this makes
I
sense.
definitely get what you're saying, though, for sure. Especially when you, like you said, consider the timing and then what the teams have to do in terms of going out of their way, literally across the world, just to put on a performance for 2 days. I do get what you're saying.
It's terrible.
And then this early on in the season, it could be a little taxing on the body too.
Word. So I gotta fly all the way across the world, play 2 games, then fly back to play 3 more spring training games before they
That mean nothing, even though I already played games that actually mean something. I get your point. It's a little weird how they have it structured. It is.
for that.
South Korea is 13 hours ahead of New York.
So add
Sheesh.
if it's 13 hours from New York, add where they're going from Los Angeles. Isn't that an additional 6 hours?
Right.
Or does it go forward 6 hours? I'm curious.
Yeah.
I'd love to know.
But if had you not actually gotten into the reasons why you dislike it, I don't think I could have really seen it that way. Because all of you heard what I think of it. I think it's great. But putting myself in the shoes of a player, this early on in the year, and then it being confusing too. You go from getting whether it be 2 wins or you split or 2 losses, whatever the case may be, and then you come right back to games where who the hell cares whether you win or lose because they mean absolutely nothing.
Right. That's crazy to me. And the other thing is this too. Check this out. You're not playing with a full roster right now. You got guys on both teams that are hurt, nicked up, bank, dealing with whatever, and it's like, so you're gonna count these 2 games? Why? Why? Somebody tell me why.
Moving forward, though, like I know it's still very early. Like, forget the fact that these 2 teams are playing games that are meaningful.
Mhm.
But moving forward, though, outside of the Seoul Series, like, what are you expecting when it comes to the Dodgers and Padres matchups this year?
More the same. More of the same. Because I don't think the Padres have done enough. Like, we sit here and talk about how listen, you look at the Padres on paper, they're solid. You just listed it. Manny, Xander, Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado, Xander Bogaerts. Like, they're solid. They're a solid group of players. Like, the pitching staff is sick. Cease and Musgrove and Darvish and you know what I mean? I get it. Michael King and Johnny Brito and all the young guys they got there.
That's why I think it's still going to be interesting. Like, I did talk about the guys who are no longer on the team, and it's unfortunate, but that obviously wasn't working for them. So
No.
it just might be where, and listen, man, it happens in sports where you put a bunch of superstars on one team and it just doesn't work out.
Yeah, no, it. Oh man, damn.
That's wild.
Woo!
16 hours is crazy. This should have been a spring training series. Wasn't the Mexico City series the Yankees? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it is. You're
right. And that's why I made that point a couple minutes ago, Rick, where I was like, all right, okay, play out there, but let it be just spring training games.
No, it's crazy.
Right.
It's crazy. And you're doing this all.
You know what? Even though I said it was just good, I think it's both good and bad, I would say, for the game.
I'm leaning more towards bad because I'm not saying that you're not going to get people to watch these games. Because like I said, I'll be up. We got to cover it for the show. So these games are going to be fun because you can talk about regular season games. That's dope. Shout to them for allowing it to be a thing. But it's not good for your overall growth of your game.
All right. Well, speaking of good, right? The one thing that the Padres did do that was good just a few days ago, you talked about it, Stefan. Dylan Cease to the Padres. It came down to the wire, I would say, because right before the deal went down, we had heard the Yankees had reached out to the White Sox to sort of see what was up with the Dylan Cease market and if he was still available, which he was, of course. But you made a very good point, Stefan. If the Yankees didn't come with their best offer, they were not going to end up with him. And that's why he's with the Padres now.
No, I think honestly, I don't think the Yankees were one of the finalists in this thing. I had heard the next day, Texas thought they had him. The Rangers thought they had him. Like Texas was telling everybody, "Yo, we're about to acquire this dude," and then you know what I mean? It fell apart at the last second because you know how these deals are. You want to include somebody, they don't really want you to include that person. You trying to hold off, like, yo, nah, I don't really want to do it. AJ Preller on the phone, like, yo, let me get your mans. That's, you know what I'm saying? So I look at it from the standpoint that AJ Preller did what AJ Preller does. That prospects are prospects. I don't know what I have. I know what Cease is. So that's who I'm going to get. So shout out to him for doing it.
Yeah, and I like the little trio that they have now. Obviously, I think everyone sort of thought, and Blake Snell himself too, thought that the last pitch that he threw for the Padres last season was going to be the last time he wore Padres uniform.
Mm-hmm.
But I like how they sort of have like found these replacements. Now, are they equally the same? We'll have to see as the season plays out, right? But I like how they replaced Blake Snell with Dylan Cease. You know, you got rid of Juan Soto in return, and also Trent Grissom. Can't forget about him as well. But you got rid of those two. You end up getting Michael King, and I like how they kind of like maneuvered around losing the amount of players that they did.
Right.
Now, which roster do I prefer on paper? Obviously, the one that included Juan Soto and Blake Snell, as well as Josh Hader last season. But, sometimes you just have to get rid of a player or two. And listen, man, I don't think the Padres are going to be as good as they were with those guys. But would it surprise me? No, it wouldn't, because they still have a nice core, a respectable core, I would say.
I'm going to blow your mind. I think they're going to be better. And I'm going to explain why. Right? You don't have Soto. Yo, he's going to be in the free agent next year. He's going to walk. He's leaving us. That's not a distraction. Snell, he was good for them last year, but they had this core for almost a year and a half, and they barely they missed the playoffs in both those years.
No, I think in the previous year they went to like the NLCS, didn't they?
Yeah. You're right.
NLCS,
they lost to,
and then they went
to.
I know they beat the Mets. Then right.
They lost to somebody. I don't remember though. No, but I think they're going to be better now because I think this is a more well-rounded roster. If I'm being honest. Like, I think they're a little bit deeper pitching wise now. I like what he's done in the bullpen, AJ Preller. I think when you look at it from the standpoint that AJ Preller is always going to be the aggressor. That's just his game. That's just how you become a GM. You know what I'm saying? Like, where he's at this level because of how aggressive he is. And I love the fact that you can see him being aggressive. I and that's how I feel. Yeah.
Right.
You don't feel the pressures of having to deal with trying to fit people in a perfect spot, and the lineup just feels a little bit more circular. And honestly, I think Fernando's gonna have a great year.
Yeah, Fernando Tatis healthy over the course of a full season. He's still, listen, man, he already gave himself a bad rep. I get it. Put that aside. If the guy doesn't, let's say he actually isn't doing this anymore, right? Because listen, man, there are guys who get caught, end up getting caught again. We've seen that in recent years. But, I don't want to hold it against Fernando Tatis entirely, especially because of how young he is still. And that's the unfortunate part too. Like, just why even do it, period, especially if you're this young. And already that good is my thing too. But yeah, I think having Fernando Tatis for a full season is definitely a plus.
Now, for the Padres, we all think this is good, this is gonna benefit them. If you're the White Sox, what's next for you?
Yeah, exactly. And you know
Also,
what it is too? When you have a star-studded lineup, the guys who are towards the bottom of the lineup, I mean, I don't want to say this is how they think exactly, but I wouldn't be surprised if they are kind of like just chill, not having to do as much. You know, I got Juan Soto, Manny Machado, Xander Bogaerts, Fernando Tatis Jr. I don't really got to do much. Whereas now you remove a Juan Soto, now the rest of these guys in the lineup have to step up and play their role.
I also think too. Here's the other thing that I'll say too is that's important. I think there we
There
go. The
you go.
Phillies.
They
Thank
lost to
you.
the Phillies, right?
I think the other thing is that you give guys the freedom to produce. Now you give guys like Fernando a chance to step up because there is no Soto. Now I can be the lead dog along with Manny. Now I can step up. And here's the thing. I'm going to point this out because I'm the money guy. You know that, Ivan, right? Would you rather pay Snell 35 plus million a year or have Dylan Cease for the next 2 years at just over 8 million a year?
No, I'd rather have Dylan Cease.
At 8 million a year.
Yes.
With younger, much more upside.
Right.
Because, listen, say what you want about the ERA, and we went through it for the practice set.
But he's going to give you more innings than Snell will.
He's going to give you
He's
more
going to
innings.
strike out roughly around the same guys.
And that stuff is probably better.
Right.
His stuff plays, bro. His stuff plays big time. But if you're the White Sox, what's next for you?
Honestly, just tear the whole thing up, to be honest, man. You talked about this before, Stefan. They got to get what's his name? Louis Robert Jr. Get him the hell up out of there. And any other piece that they have too. Like, to be honest, I feel like the White Sox have failed at, just trying to become relevant again. For years, Jose Abreu was the guy who was holding it down for them, and we saw him end up going to the Astros last season.
This kid's a stud, though.
Right. And, I'm going to be honest, I still don't even think we've seen his best yet. No, I don't think we have.
Me neither.
I don't think his ceiling, for me, I could see him maybe hitting like 45 bombs, 110 ribbies. I could see him doing that. Now, could I see him doing that over the course of a few years? Not really, because he has already showed us early on that health isn't always on his side, I would say. But
and that's
look
why
at that. Even on the defensive end, that is crazy.
But you see why? Because he's crashing into walls like a psychopath.
Yeah.
Like, yo, I don't need you robbing every home run. Chill. Please, for the love of God. And he can help somebody right now. You put him in the middle of somebody's lineup, he's going to change the way the dynamic of that team rolls. Like, I tell you this, put him in the same outfield in Seattle with J-Rod and let those two young boys do work in Seattle. Because to me, Seattle's one major bat away outside of J-Rod from it being a wrap. Like, Seattle's right there on that tipping point. You know what I'm saying? I would say, I'll give you another team, for example. To me, I think a team like the Phillies can use a guy like that.
Oh, yeah.
They can use a guy like that, that plays both ends of the field, that just does everything on the field. They can use a guy like that. And so when I look at him, I'm like, bro, you would be sick in a bunch of different lineups. But
you know what? What's another reason why I believe the White Sox haven't really done this full-blown rebuild just yet?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's because with how weak the American League Central has been for quite some time now, I think they still have, well, not me actually saying this, but this is how they view themselves, rather. They probably think that they still have a decent chance at winning the division when you have guys, well, not guys, but teams like the Twins and the Royals and the Indians that you're competing against.
See, but here's the thing. All those teams got better. You didn't.
Right.
The Royals had the offseason. We forget the Royals spent almost $350 million this offseason.
Right.
Like, they did work. Like, Cleveland's Cleveland until further notice, because you still got Ramirez, you still got Stephen Kwan, you still got Josh Naylor. You still got some guys in there. You know, Shane Bieber, who I think the Yankees look at the deadline and like, oh, all right, we can use this guy.
Yeah, I think for the Indians, I don't want to get too off topic here, but I think the Indians.
Let me correct you because you said the Indians. Let me correct you. The Guardians is
now.
Sorry,
the Guardians. You're right. Oh, listen, man. You get accustomed to hearing it for so long. I'm sure people who were what's that NFL team that recently changed their name?
The Redskins. Yeah,
exactly. I'm sure Redskins fans they still consider them the Redskins, but yes. The Guardians, I think they're about maybe half a season to a season away from moving on from either Shane Bieber, Jose Ramirez, or what's the closer's name? Emmanuel Clase.
Yep.
He's another guy too. I could really see one of those guys being moved at some point in 2024.
Here's the other thing. You want a jewel? Let me drop a jewel on you. Who was Shane Bieber's first pitching coach in the big leagues?
I'm listening.
Matt Blake. Who's Matt Blake the pitching coach of now? He's the Yankees pitching coach. Matt Blake has been trying to get the Yankees to trade for Shane Bieber. They've been trying
the Guardians.
The Yankees have been trying to get Shane Bieber for the last 3 seasons.
Right.
So I think finally, if they can get something squared up, I think they do it. Listen, if you're the Guardians, though, you gotta look in the same window as the White Sox. Like, when do we start to tear this all the way completely to the ground and do it the right way, where we're not playing middle of the road? Because it's time to tell the truth. It's time to tell the truth. Your payroll is $55 million. Your payroll is insignificant compared to what all these other teams are making, which means I'm going to tell you this right now. If you're Shane Bieber,
that's another piece that the Guardians have that's pretty good too. I forgot about him. He's a starter. Tristan McKenzie. He looks like he weighs 100 pounds, but that fastball and the way he pitches, bro, is crazy.
Yo, his average velo. His
paper though when you see him.
His average velo was like 98.7 last year.
Yeah, he's ridiculous. But yeah, we were talking about the Guardians, and he's definitely another guy who you may have to consider. Even though I could see the other guys who I mentioned previously probably on the go before Tristan McKenzie's on the go.
I would say
Guardians. I think started the deadline this year. Yanks and Bieber make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Hey, while you're at it, why does it only have to be Shane Bieber? I mean, I know it'll cost too much to get more, but can I get a Shane Bieber, Jose Ramirez? Can I get a Shane Bieber, Emmanuel Clase? Like, I'll take that.
Listen, because I'm gonna say, because this is the conversation I want to have. You know why I would try and trade for Jose Ramirez? I don't think Soto stays.
Oh my gosh, please. All right. Okay. I don't want to go in that direction. Well, I don't want, it's not because I don't want you to get into that topic.
I'm just gonna throw that out. I'm
looking at what our next topic is, because we know you guys don't know, but I feel like what Stefan was about to get into makes sense for that, especially when you want to consider what's next.
Mm-hmm.
Hence, I think I gave it away, but I didn't actually say completely. But you guys will see in a couple minutes. But yeah, do you think the White Sox actually? Excuse me, not the White Sox. Do you think the Padres gave up too much for Dylan Cease in this deal? Of course, we have the prospects and the players as well. I think there was a major leaguer that was included in this deal as well. Yeah, right-handed pitcher Steven Wilson. Was this an overpay, or do you think this is just about right in terms of what Dylan Cease is worth now?
Not enough. Not enough.
Oh, so you think the White Sox settled?
Yes.
Wow.
And the reason I'm going to say not enough is because we all know how expensive starting pitching is, right? That package would have been acceptable if he had a year left. I'd have said, all right, year left, you got what you could get. I ain't mad. Bro, they didn't walk away with one top 4 prospect in this deal? They walked away with the number 5, the number 7, the number 8, and the last one was in the big leagues.
Right.
No top 4s.
Well, they got the 4th one, Drew Thorpe. He was
who they
4th.
got from they got Drew Thorpe from the Padres, who came from the Yankees in the Juan Soto deal.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So I want more than that. You got him for 2 years, and you didn't give me a top 4 prospect. When all along Chris Getz was like, yo, I'm not settling. I want the sun, the moon, and the stars. And you settled for number 7, 8, 5, and a guy who just made the big. And Drew Thorpe is nice. He was the minor league pitcher of the year last year. Not crapping on it, but it's like with his stuff and how good he can be, I would have thought the ceiling would have got him a little more than what he got. That's just me. I could be wrong. I could be misreading this situation. That's just my humble opinion. You guys let me know what you think, because I could be misreading it completely.
Yeah. You know what, too? If I had to take a guess what Dylan Cease is going to do over the next 2 years for the San Diego Padres, I think he wants to get paid. Do I think he wants to get paid by the Padres? I mean, if the Padres between now and then are looking forward to keeping Cease on the team, then sure, why not? But after what we heard, happened to the owner recently, and it just seems like this is where I think the Padres are sort of gonna like ride this out. Mm-hmm. They're gonna see where this team takes them, and then if it's not to, of course, where they would like to end up, I wouldn't be surprised if other guys end up being on the move.
So before we even start this conversation, RIP Peter Sidler, who was the owner of the Padres, who died from cancer at the age of 63. He was only 63 when he passed, and his goal was to bring a World Series to San Diego.
And he tried.
And he tried his darndest.
I give him credit, especially with him knowing how he was in terms of health, and him probably knowing that he didn't have much time left.
Spare no expense.
What better way than to, I hate to say this, but go out
with a bang. Yeah, go out with a bang.
I know the goal was to win a World Series, but if you weren't going to win the World Series, at least you know that, listen, I went out after spending every single last penny I had.
And here's the thing. So you don't know if the new ownership is going to come in and do the exact same thing. So this is why if you see AJ Preller now, he's moving pieces on the chessboard. Yo, I got to trade from a position of strength. I got to trade from a position of depth. I got to be able to be flexible. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know if I'm going to be able to write those big checks anymore. I don't know if that's in the cards for me anymore. So now you're seeing his flexibility to it. And the one thing we know about AJ Preller traded Craig Kimbrell to the Braves before 2013, right on opening day. He made the trade. Right. Remember that trade where Melvin Upton went to San Diego, Craig Kimbrell went to Atlanta? This guy AJ Preller he's known for making monster trades. Very late in off seasons. The guy is accustomed to just doing crazy work.
Right.
So I'm not surprised. I just want to see one of his crazy moves actually hit. Like, I want to see him hit. Like Soto, you didn't really get an investment for because you traded him before you can actually see what you had.
There's a chance, though, that we have seen them already reach their best. If, we spoke about it earlier, we saw how far they went in 2022. Shout out to Emilio for reminding us, and Rick as well, for reminding us that they lost to the Philadelphia Phillies in the NLCS, but that may have been their best, because I'm going to be honest, whether we think this is actually going to be better for the Padres or not moving forward, all right, let's say yes, right? The way this team is currently constructed, this is not a World Series team. I'm sorry. And it doesn't have to end here, right? But again, because of what the Padres have been doing and then what they've been dealing with at the same time, you just don't really know, like, in what direction are they going to be headed towards next.
And that's where, if you're AJ Preller, you have to map out what's the next course for your organization. You have to sit down as a man and go, am I even going to be allowed to finish out the vision that I had? Because how many cracks at the can do you get before you're like, bro, You make earth-shattering moves, but we end up either not making the playoffs or eliminated in the playoffs. Like, you got to make a move to get us here with the Philadelphias, with the Dodgers, with the Arizonas, with the teams that are in it. You got to get us here.
Right.
Like, it can't be all flash. There has to be substance somewhere. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know, man. I feel like he's very he's all about the flash, and I don't see much substance. To me, I could be wrong. Though.
Right. There's a couple of guys that we had actually mentioned, as you can already see down at the banner. What's next? Right. We just finished talking about the Padres and them acquiring Dylan Cease. But the two other teams who were also involved, Stefan, you talked about how close the Rangers thought they were when it came to getting Dylan Cease prior to the Padres just coming out of nowhere and saying, hell nah, you don't want that. Right. But then the Yankees as well. But aside from, the Yankees being involved with Dylan Cease, there were also some other things that we found out regarding them too.
I would say watch the Giants.
The Giants, okay.
The Giants need starting pitching. Like their entire rotation's hurt.
You know what surprises me? Because we've been hearing, like, lately the Giants have been more of the desperate team where they are rather literally willing to give, an overpaid contract to a player without truly knowing whether they're going to reap the benefits at the end of it or even during the entirety of it. But would it surprise you if, like, it surprises me actually, like if the Giants have this money and you are just going for every single quote unquote household name, why isn't Blake Snell wearing a Giants uniform?
Because his agent Scott Boras and he wants top of the market money, and the Giants are smart like everybody else, going, oh hell no. Why?
Right. So that means you don't really want the guy then.
No, but you got to be fiscally responsible. You can't just throw money at Blake Snell because it's something you need.
I mean, they did it for, and I get it. These are completely different players, but just to kind of throw some names out there and who they were willing to do it for: Aaron Judge, Carlos Correa.
Different cases, though.
I get it. I just had to put it out there that they are willing to open up the checkbook.
Not only are they willing, they've done it. They gave the Korean, the import player, the Korean gentleman, Kim. They gave him Lee, Jung-Hoo Lee. They gave him his money, $113 million over 6 years.
Right.
They paid
Matt Chapman
his money. They were in on Cody Bellinger to the last week before he went back to Chicago. So they're going to spend money. The Giants are in it to win this thing. The question then becomes is like, when is there a stopping point? Because we got to start to look at like, damn, but we want to be flexible for next year too. Because let's say Matt Chapman has a breakout year and you want to bring him back. And you got to pay Blake Snell. You got to pay him. You got to pay all these cats. Where's that money coming from? Where's that money coming from? Like, to me, I'd rather put together a team rather than putting together a roster full of stars. Because that can get expensive after a while.
Yeah, and then also, too, when you're in, like, this position that the Giants are sort of in right now, trying to look for the next man up, I would say, you could also fall flat on your face, especially with the amount of money and the years that some of these players are asking for. You just might end up falling for a trap.
Word. And the last thing you want to do if you're the Giants is tie yourself into a contract where you know you ain't gonna be able to get the hell out.
Right.
Like, I'm gonna be honest. Imagine they would have did the Aaron Judge deal. When you had $400 million on the table with all his broken toe and oblique and rib cage, yeah.
Right.
Okay. I'll play along. We could play this game all day. The Giants need to be lucky that they didn't do this. They need to be lucky they didn't do it.
Lorenzen still isn't signed, and that is wild. I would love to see a team looking for a solid third starter go and get that dude.
I love Michael Lorenzen on the Yankees. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I could use a Michael Lorenzen in my rotation right now.
Right.
I really would. Like, I'll tell you this: Chicago could use him. The Cubs, the Yankees could use him. The Orioles can use him. The Marlins now, with all their pitching injuries, they could use him because the Marlins' top prospect, what's his name? Yuri, I think it's something Yuri. I forgot his last name.
Yeah, he think he was the starter who was ridiculous last year. I think they had him on an innings limit.
Please, somebody Google his name.
Yeah, is the last name Perez?
It could be. I don't want to get it wrong though.
Right.
Somebody Google his name. I just want to be 100% sure.
I know what you're talking about.
He's getting checked out for Tommy John. His elbow. He had elbow discomfort the other day. He pulled himself from a start.
Wow.
Is it Yuri Perez?
It might be.
Somebody find that name for me.
I know exactly. I know the player that you're talking about. The name is what. So I guess we did get it right. I guess Ray is referring. Hopefully, referring to that.
No, he was talking about the Yankees, I think.
Oh, okay.
Wow, can somebody get a name?
There we go. Yuri Perez.
Yuri Perez. Yes.
Spot on.
So he might be headed for Tommy John, and that'll be the third player on the Marlins pitching staff that had Tommy John inside of the last 6 months.
Yeah, that's
Sandy Alcantara. I think Edward Cabrera also had one of their relievers, and now if this kid needs it, forget it. Oh, he was a movie last year. This kid was throwing 99 every day.
He was. You know what I remember reading about the innings limit and the Marlins really, enjoying what it was that he was doing for them.
That kid is sick.
At the big league level in such a short amount of time. And I could imagine being that player, like you're Yuri Perez, you're doing exactly, it is that the Marlins expected you to do, and possibly even more, right? I think he was above the expectation if you were to ask me. But imagine that you're literally pitching your ass off and the Marlins come to you and they're like, hey, kid, we need you to take a seat because, one, you haven't done this before. 2, you throw extremely hard. We don't need you to go down sooner than we would like. And then it still happens either way. And
look, he's about to blow out his arm anyway. Got knocking on all the wood in the world.
Yeah.
That's just unfortunate. Pitching is
so I want to now that we're talking about what's next for these teams, the Yankees and the Rangers, like I kind of feel like the Rangers are in on more pitching because they know that they can't expect much out of Jacob deGrom. They can't expect much out of Max Scherzer. So I think they're in a very similar situation that the Yankees are in, where obviously, outside of Garrett Cole, the Yankees have a bunch of question marks. Hopefully, Rodon comes back and even if he's not the guy that he was before he came to the Yankees, at least be somewhat better than he was last season. People are fucking crying and making a big deal as well because Marcus Stroman said that he didn't want to pitch on opening day. Like, dude, I think him wanting to pitch in Yankee Stadium, the home opener, makes more sense. Like, yo, crucify the guy. Like, what's the big deal?
It's not only that. Like, these players are creatures of habit. You can't tell a player, like, now all of a sudden, like, yo, I'm preparing to get my body ready for this. Now you're telling me I can't do this? Help me where it makes sense.
Right. And then you end up tweaking something because it's like, oh, damn. Because, it's always next man up, right? So Garrett Cole is out for 1 to 2 months. Now you got Rodon stepping up. You got Marcus Stroman stepping up. Nestor Cortez, who in this case actually agreed to be the opening day starter.
Right.
But it's right. Like, man, I was looking at some of the videos and reading certain articles, and I'm like, listen, man, let's not get on. Let him do something that's like obviously dumb. Let him do something that's like obviously stupid before we try to rip his head off.
But that's the New York media thing. That's the problem with the you know what? I'm leaving it alone. Because that's the problem with the old age media who think they got a right to be calling people out their name and you don't even know why the dude is doing what he's doing.
Exactly.
Why are you speaking on something you have no knowledge of? And then why they wonder why me and you got to start podcasts looking at us all crazy.
Yeah.
Because they're like, what do you
and then they get mad too, not just in sports, but you see it in like the music industry as well. Like you'll see for example, one of the top artists that people would expect to go on like a very common platform, they end up not doing that. They go somewhere else, and you got like mainstream media asking like, yo, why he ain't come talk to us?
Y'all don't matter no more. That's why.
Exactly.
The truth of the matter is these players got platforms too. So if I'm honest, I think a player would rather come on this platform because we're gonna keep it a buck, bro. Like we're gonna be unfiltered, we're gonna be us, and we're not gonna make you give us buttoned up answers. You can say whatever the fuck you want. I don't care.
Right.
Because at this point, we need to get real authentic. If we want these players to show us their real side, we got to give the same to them. We can't get upset when they say, "Nah, I'm not doing that." That doesn't make sense for me as a person or as a player. You can't ask them to be real, and then when they're real with you, you don't like it. There has to be a two-way street. So shout out to Stro for standing on his square.
Yeah, of course.
Go be great. Go be great, Stro.
For a second, like if you're somebody who is already iffy when it comes to him, you hear that, like that's nothing but a red flag. But when you really consider it and you put yourself in the shoes of Marcus Stroman, or like you said, Stefan, a player who's just accustomed to their routine and their routine only and don't want to be knocked out of that, like you understand why they don't want to, do certain things. And then, like I said, also considering the home opener. I mean, the guys from New York always wanted to be a Yankee. Like, I get it. Opening days against the Astros. And this is probably the team who you're more than likely going to end up seeing at some point in the playoffs.
See, but it's deeper than that.
Of course.
Because who comes to Yankee Stadium in the first homestand? Who's the first opponent? The Blue Jays.
Right.
The Blue Jays did him dirty by not trading him to the Yankees. You don't think he sees the Blue Jays and goes, all right, here's 8 shutout innings on you niggas for not doing what you said you was going to do. Here you go. Hold that. Hold all that.
Could you imagine at the time when the Blue Jays traded Stroman to
the Mets?
The Mets, they probably told him, they were like, hey, listen, man, we traded you to New York. And he probably thought, New York, I'm going to the Yankees. Until he probably saw the headlines and all the like breaking news stories.
Which is why.
To be honest, man, that's how a lot of players find out that they're getting dealt these days. It's no longer them receiving a call. Now, occasionally you'll hear a player talk about and sort of break down how it went before they were actually dealt and maybe the calls that were made before it became official. So you never know, but let me not stir the pot. I'm just talking BS.
Listen, which is why you can't ask these players to be loyal to these teams when these teams ain't loyal to these players. It's a business. People hate when I say that, but that's just the truth. If we can't have a true conversation here, then we might as well just pack up these mics and go on home.
Right.
Because we could all the players are selfish. They want their money. All they care about is money, and they want what they want. How about the owner that trades you somewhere where you don't want to be just because he can? Or the GM that lies to you and tells you, yo, I'm going to trade you here, don't worry. And then they end up flipping you somewhere where you don't want to be.
Right.
And then you got to be a professional, suck it up, and go there because you're under contract, technically. Not fair.
So really quickly, Stefan, before we go on to the next topic, I want to ask one last question before we move on to the next. Follow us on Instagram, by the way, at 27nows3c. If you're watching us on YouTube, of course, which is live right now, which is literally the only way to watch the show right now.
Hit that follow button,
subscribe,
hit that thumbs up button, all that.
Like, don't be afraid to leave comments. I know a lot of you guys leave comments, when we're live, but if you're one of those people who are watching the show after the fact and it's no longer live, still leave a comment. We're paying attention. Yeah.
We'll read it. We'll get back. If it's good, we'll get back to you. One of us will.
what I wanted to ask you before we move on, so when it comes to the Yankees and the Rangers, two teams, as I mentioned, who are in need when it comes to starting pitching,
Mhm.
uh, who gets the guy that they need, quote unquote? Is it the Yankees or or the Rangers first?
I think the Rangers square up and get something they need first. I think the Rangers are more desperate spot than the Yankees are. I'm just gonna be honest. Like, because I don't think the Yankees are moving with the level of desperation to a, to add
That they
something.
should be.
Yeah. Where the Rangers are like, yo, Scherzer's gonna be out mid-season. The Grom's gonna be out mid-season.
Right.
This one's gonna be out mid-season. Like, we got to do something right now.
I'm gonna say this again. I feel like I've said this to you, Stefan. I don't know if it was on a full episode or if it was back when we were working behind the scenes filming those practice episodes, but the one thing that Major League Baseball, yes, I'm telling you right now, the one thing that Major League Baseball, the American League and the National League do not want, don't let, and I don't think it's going to happen because he's just not built that way anymore. But the one thing that every other team other than the Rangers should not want is for Jacob deGrom to be healthy. You have a healthy Jacob deGrom with the way that the roster is structured for the Rangers. Oh, hell no. That you are asking for trouble.
And you're not, listen, if we get a healthy Jake and then Jake gets to mentor a guy like Jack Leiter and Kumar Rocker and all the pitching they got coming, oh, hell no. I feel bad for y'all.
Listen, man. Listen. People better pray that these moves that the Rangers are making are to, be prepared for when a Max Scherzer goes down, when a Jacob deGrom goes down, and even for emergency purposes too, because you can't just always simply rely on, pitching. The one thing that you're always going to need in baseball is more pitching.
Can I get on my soapbox for half a second?
Go ahead.
We need 12 starters, people. 12. Oh, that's too much. That's too much. That's too much. 5 starters are gonna go down at some point during the season. Can we stipulate that? The Yankees played themselves when Garrett Cole went down and they didn't have a replacement for him. You played yourself. Because if you didn't think that this was a possibility, you're ill-equipped as an organization to move forward and to handle what happens next. You played yourself. You going in there with Carlos Rodon, Nestor Cortez, Clark Schmidt. That's what we rolling there with. You played yourself. So you deserve whatever you get now. Now you can't talk about fiscal responsibility anymore because you knew what you needed and you punted. Fiscal responsibility went out the window when you traded for Alex Verdugo and Juan Soto. Fiscal responsibility went out the window when you gave Aaron Judge 9 years at $360. Fiscal responsibility. Can I keep going? Fiscal responsibility went out the window when you gave Garrett Cole $324 million. Fiscal responsibility went out the window when you traded for 8 years left to Giancarlo Stanton. Can we? You feel what I'm saying?
Of course.
You can't yell at me about fiscal responsibility and then the moment when we try to get real with you, we have to be fiscally responsible. We can't spend money like crazy. Why?
Listen, I know it is way too early to say this, but because for me, I don't think the Yankee season is over just yet. I do have to see what Garrett Cole is going to look like and how he's going to battle through what he's currently dealing with, not just now, but also when he comes back and when he is allowed to start throwing again. But if Garrett Cole is not capable of being his usual self, you can count the Yankees out right now. I'm telling you. I don't care who you trade for. I don't care how good the offense is. Garrett Cole is irreplaceable. I'm sorry to say. The only way I see it working for them is if they make a deal and then Rodon steps up, and so does Nestor Cortez, and then Marcus Stroman looks more like the first half Marcus Stroman of last season.
There's a lot of question marks around both these teams. The reason why the Yankees are in a tougher spot than the Rangers Because you've invested a lot more money in these dudes. You traded away pitching capital for a year or so to go for it. You know what I mean? You traded for Verdugo. Like you went for it.
I agree. Yankee season is not over. Yeah, it's not just
It's
yet.
not over, but I think at some point we got to get realistic with what they should and shouldn't have done.
Yeah.
Because listen, to me, Blake Snell's out there. Listen, Blake Snell has warts as a pitcher. Go get that dude and put him at the top of this rotation right now. Go get the dude. We'll figure out the rest later. Go get him. Oh, but it's gonna cost us 110%. You should have thought about the 110% before your asses went out and traded for the whole goddamn world.
Right.
Am I wrong?
No, you're right. You're right.
Like, and when you say it like that, they look at you like you're crazy. And I'm gonna tell you, I think Blake Snell ends up in Houston, which is double problems for the Yankees.
Oh yeah, that's another thing that again, that's why you should follow us on Instagram at 27outs3C, because that's where I got that note from. Blake Snell and the Houston Astros being in touch and it, gaining some momentum to the point where he just might end up there after all.
You saw what he wants though, right?
I did not see the years or the dollars, no.
He wants 2 years, 66, and he wants to opt out after every year. And the Astros are like,
3 years at 66? That's not bad.
no, he wants 2 years at 66.
He wants 33 per. Oh,
so put it to you like this: he wants $100 million for 3 years.
Right, yeah.
Houston's like, you say you want how much? And you want opt outs for every one of them years, bro.
Yeah. You see, but the Astros are in a position too where, like, yeah, you got Verlander who's out, and I'm gonna be honest, I love Verlander. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer, but I don't think we're gonna see Verlander be that same workhorse. Is he capable of coming in for 5-6 innings and dominating? Yeah. Can he do it on a nightly basis? I don't think he's no longer that guy. And that's not a knock on him. Like, he has been as good as we all know of for, I mean, you would need my hands as along with Stefan's hands to put all of his like good seasons together.
This guy is a freak of nature. He's pitching.
Yeah.
He won a Cy Young at like 39 years old.
Yeah, but like, the reason why I bring him up though is because I feel like the Astros, like, their window is not exactly closing, but it is closer to being closed than it is open.
It is open, yeah, I agree.
Like, Bregman is, I think, entering free agency after this year. Mm-hmm. You just gave that extension to Jose Altuve. I just talked about Justin Verlander and his nagging injuries. But on the bright side,
hold on, wait.
Go ahead.
We got more injuries because Jose Urquidy, who they expected to be in their rotation this year, who just went to go see the team doctor. He left a spring training start after 43 pitches with soreness in the elbow. So wow. he's another one that could be headed for, you know what I mean?
Right.
When you look, Lance McCullers, now him. Now I'm like, damn. Now I need some starting pitching.
It wouldn't surprise me too if the Astros were to do whatever it took to get Blake Snell, because you got to make the best out of what you have right now. Like, you may not have Altuve, Bregman, Jeremy Pena, Yordan Alvarez, Kyle Tucker. I mean, we can go on, but you're not going to have this group together forever. So I think if the Astros and Blake Snell have that much interest in each other, make it happen.
Or it could be Scott telling teams, yo, get a final offer in because I got Houston right here.
Oh, yeah, because that's the bullshit he does. Like,
get a final offer in.
Like he said in that clip. Go watch it on the Instagram. Stephen was like, yo, but what Scott Boras does, I got this team over here. You know I got that other team over there.
Yo, I tell you this, he's probably blowing up Texas's phone and the Yankees' phone. I got Texas ready to give me my 2 years at 66, bro. If you can get it to 3 years at 110,
right?
I mean, we might be able to have a conversation. Like, Scott is playing, he's going to play checkers. He's going to play chess, not checkers, excuse me. But, bro, if you want to end up in Houston, just go to Houston. Stop playing the negotiation game. Because if the Yankees were really interested in you and wanted to do
Of course they do.
I would agree with that.
Of course they do.
Listen, what's the
I
saying?
feel like the Rangers just came out of nowhere, you could kind of say, and
said, "Give
just
me that."
interfered like with this dynasty that the Astros have going on. You know.
By the way, you ever seen?
I would be pissed.
You ever seen Friday?
Of course.
You know Debo?
Yeah.
The Rangers are like Debo. You don't want that champion. Come here, bro. What you mean?
Yeah, he passed away, right?
Yeah, shout to him.
I think he did. Yeah, rest in peace, Debo.
Yeah, that's how you know you're getting old. When all your childhood stars are all out here dying.
Yo, man, honestly, I'm entering 30 this year, right? And I've been telling people, listen, man, please tell me, is there a way to remain 29 forever? Because if there is a way, I want to be the person that finds it.
First of all, why ain't gotta be your special ass that finds it? Some of us want that for us too.
Yo, bro, it's like being a creator, or you being an inventor. Like, certain things come out later rather than others.
Yo, dog. Because once I turned 30, it was all a wrap. Like, you can't eat certain foods no more. Your body wants to fall asleep earlier. It's a wrap.
Right. All right, let's get into this last topic before the show's over. So, I have a question, by the way, after I could read this, but Devin Williams, it sucks, man. He's a guy who I like to watch. Not only do I like watching him, but he's also filthy in MLB The Show.
Speaking of watching him, here you go. You can watch him, Devin Williams.
He is dealing with two stress fractures in his back and is expected to miss around 3 months. God damn, that's April, that's May, that's June, and you might not come back till July, so make it 4.
Hold on.
But
hold on. Wait. Before you keep going, hold on. Where's the soundboard at? We gotta get it up. Hold on. I think that's appropriate. Appropriate. I think the damn is appropriate because Devin Williams is disgusting.
Yeah, he is.
And you want to talk about a guy that could have been trade bait for the Brewers?
And I'm glad you mentioned that, Stephen, because that leads me to my question. So the Brewers, which they haven't really lived by, so it makes me wonder what was the point of even saying this in the first place. But the Brewers did make it seem as if they were ready for this fire sale. Everyone is available. First come, first serve. Who do you want? Come get him, right? But now we saw what they did with Corbin Burns. Obviously, they moved him to the Orioles, which was a great move for Baltimore because a lot of people were kind of like expecting, what were they going to do next, especially when it came to that starting rotation. But for the Brewers, they've got so many guys who they could trade. Devin Williams goes down. You still got Willie Adames. You got Freddie Peralta. I think Brandon Woodruff, even though I think he's going to miss some time, I believe.
He's going to miss basically the next 2 years.
Right. So
all of this year and most of next year, too.
Do you think with everything that is happening right now for the Brewers, do you think
God.
That was disgusting, by the way?
Hold on. Wait. Wait. We got to go back. Wait. Come on, Mouse. Cooperate with your boy. Oh, my goodness. What did you see that frisbee? Yo, dog. He hit it.
Yeah,
look at that
right
thing,
there.
bro.
Yeah.
He
was literally dancing to the plate.
Are you kidding? Yo, dog. What is that?
Was like this, literally on his way.
Your man just.
How do you hit that?
Hold on a second, son. How do you throw a backdoor changeup?
Yeah.
And then come back with a 2-seam slide piece and have people looking all crazy. Devin Williams, that's illegal, dog. Like, what are we doing?
Do you think this speeds up the process for the Brewers to probably actually start doing what it is that they said they were going to do?
Can I ask you a question? Speed it up. Where the fuck you been for the last 3 seasons?
Exactly.
Oh, hold on. Speed it up. You stuck in neutral just like the Red Sox. So I think you guys are driving the same car. Where's the gas pedal at? Neutral. Now.
Even though the Brewers, I would say, are the better team. No, like they have a lot of players that teams would be interested in.
I understand that, but how long can you be in neutral before you decide to make a decision?
Right, I'm with you. I
You know what
agree.
I'm
They
saying?
they
Like
should be they should be. Well, I
okay.
thought they would have made even more deals by this
They
point.
have to, because I'm gonna tell you this: Willie Adames is gonna be the shortstop of the Dodgers come trade deadline. I'm calling that right now. The Dodgers are going to trade for Willie Adames at some point. You can't have Mookie Betts playing shortstop for the next 6 months.
Yeah.
It's just not feasible. You gotta hope Devin Williams gets back in time for the trade deadline, because you might not be able to trade him, because teams want to know he's healthy before they invest in him.
And that's if he's actually able to come back.
Yeah,
Because let's say he comes back and he's still feeling something. You know, that is just gonna put him in a position where he may have to stop throwing for quite some time. And then he has to wait to get the green light to get back into the groove of things, to then actually pitch in games. Like, it's such a process. It really is. And, you know, a guy like Devin Williams, I said it before, I'll say it again. I like watching him. Hell of a player.
That stuff is disgusting.
You don't really see too many relievers have multiple seasons of being elite. Well, he's done it.
At the highest level. Like, if I'm the Orioles, I just double down and go get Devin Williams too and just pair him with his old buddy Josh Hader. I'm like, yo, buddy, Craig Kimbrell can't be saving. Craig, and Houston needs relievers too. Like, Houston needs relievers. Like, oh, Josh Hader's our closer. All right. Ryan Presley's also 36.
Right. I think they lost Hector Neris as well.
He went to Chicago. He went to the Cubs, right?
Yeah.
But if I'm the Orioles, I'm like, yo, if I could trade for Devin Williams real quick.
Yeah. Outside of, who would you say? Josh Hader and what's the closer's name again? Of the Houston Astros. Oh man.
Ryan Presley?
Yes, there we go. Outside of those two, you do need some reinforcement.
Agreed. I think at some point we got to come to the realization that, yo, Houston, that bullpen's still filthy. Like, because Ryan Presley's 35. Ryan Presley's still 35, but that stuff is disgusting, bro.
Yeah.
Like, that stuff is legit.
Brewers are not like the Red Sox. Sox ain't pressing the gas. Brewers are using hope to push the car to the gas station. That's true.
I give you that.
That is true. Which is why I said the Brewers are the better team.
Yeah.
Like, if you compare roster to roster and even dating back to what they did last season, the Brewers are certainly the better team. And that's what a crazy time to live in, where the Milwaukee Brewers, like a team in like the middle part of America,
are doing work out here. Yeah,
better than the Boston Red Sox.
And I'm gonna tell you this, right? A lot of this is because public perception too. Because you remember when they got killed when they traded Josh Hader. If they make another monster trade and this team's in it at the deadline, that fan base is gonna kill them. The GM Matt Arnold, the owner Mark Antanasio, you did what? You traded who? And we in this thing? You crazy? Nah. B. What? But that's the risk you run, man.
Yeah.
That's the risk you run. One final topic, quick hitter before we get out of here. I just want to say, for the record, I cannot wait to see these three individuals in the big leagues next year. Or maybe as early as this year. Paul Skeens is disgusting. The pitcher in Pittsburgh.
Yes.
That kid is filthy.
I saw him pitching to Holiday the other day. I think he struck him out.
Yo, he threw him a 3-2 wiffle ball changeup. That shit went like this. Yo, dog, I was like, oh, filth. And then Spencer Jones just decides, we're going to take 9 iron to right field. We're going to go dead central to dead center field. Spencer Jones is having the type of like spring where you're like.
Yeah, I think yesterday in that prospects game, he had like 4 RBIs.
He hit 2 home runs.
Yeah.
And the ball he hit today in a game against the Red Sox, yo, dog, guy's a freak. Also, too, Colby Mayo in Baltimore. He's actually blocked right now from making the big leagues by another prospect, Kobe Brewer, his name. He's blocking him. So the Orioles got prospects on top of prospects. It's ridiculous what's going on in Baltimore.
Yeah.
But my guy, my click to pick, rookie of the year, gonna make the opening day roster. Can we put some respect on Wyatt Langford's name, please?
Yeah, honestly, I'm gonna be honest. So I found out about this guy last week because Stefan and I, listen, man, we do this. I mean, you might as well say we do this for a living, right? Like we do a show for an hour. We got to prep during the week. Leading up to the show. But aside from the show, we have our own, conversations because we're boys off the air, right?
Yo, dog.
But the thing is, last week, we're going down this list of names of prospects, and we're like, yo, look at this guy. Have you seen that guy? And Stefan mentioned one that he just brought up now. And listen, when I saw the highlights, I said, this man is a beast.
By the way, yo, real quick, you seen the grand slam he hit the dead center the other day?
I did see that, yeah.
I was like, yo, dog. What? How'd you just 9-iron that bitch dead center field with no type of issue? Like, nah, it's gone. Yo, his OPS is like 1250.
Yeah, I feel like baseball has already been heading in this direction where it's gonna be a young guy sport where most of the best players in the game are in their early to mid 20s, and you might have an occasional guy in their early 30s, maybe one last man standing who's in his mid to late 30s still rocking and going wild. But I do definitely see baseball being this sport where it's gonna be for I want to say the younger demographic, especially when you consider how old a lot of these guys are going to be and how good they are so soon.
When you got these young boys doing this, your dog, Wyatt Langford looks like a big league hitter. Jackson Holiday, I know Paul Skeens made him look foolish, but Paul Skeens listens to everybody. Don't feel bad.
Yeah.
I've never seen, you want to know what his first at bat was? His first at bat of the game. He came out to shoot 101, see ya, 102, get out of here, Duke. Next, Jackson Holiday came up, worked full count, hit him with a, I've never seen a ball do this. 92 mile an hour changeup. That shit was like a frisbee. I've never seen a baseball do this before in my life. It was one of the illest things I've ever seen. I was like, I'm literally praying to the baseball gods, like, please let this kid's arm stay healthy. please, bro, for the love of it's disgusting. It's disgusting what these kids are doing at this age.
I can't wait, and maybe we might never get to that point, right? Because the human body is not built to sustain a 162 game season, right? The human body isn't meant to be throwing a ball at 100 miles per hour, but I would love to see a player sustain that over like 15 to 20 years just to kind of see what the numbers would truly be for a player who is that good and then for that long. I mean, some people will probably say that we have already seen that with Nolan Ryan, Randy Johnson, Roger Clemens, but I'm talking about with today's major league where guys are throwing 102, 103 in their sleep, like rolling out of bed.
This dude, first pitch of the game, I don't think his arm was fully even stretched out. 101 on the black. I was like, what?
Right.
What is this, bro? You from this planet or you an alien? Yo, what? Yo, dog. All right, we out of here.
I think that's it for today's show. One last time, thank you guys for watching. We really appreciate it. This was episode 3 of what we hope is your favorite baseball show on all platforms. I ain't just talking about on YouTube, on all platforms. So make sure you follow us on Instagram at 27outs3c. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go ahead, Stefan.
By the way, 2 things before we get out of here. If you want more bonus content, get us to 80 subscribers. If you get us to 80, we'll give you guys some fresh bonus content. We got clips of this episode that are going to drop, I'm sure, fairly soon.
Yeah.
Also, opening night, March 28th, 8 p.m.
Special
right back
edition.
here Thursday night, right after all the games are over. There might still be some games on, but and we're gonna break it down only as we can, baby.
Yeah,
So
you know, we might, you know, respond to some of the wild things that happen throughout the night while we're live on the air. You
or
know, you guys may be able to put us on, you know, via the comment section while we're talking. So it's gonna be something fun to look forward to.
and I'm gonna have a game on the TV probably while we're doing the show. So you already know the
Right,
drill. But
right.
come hang out with us opening night. Come hang out with us next week too, because we got some more fun stuff. We're gonna do more of this prospect stuff. Because I got a name we haven't even mentioned yet that I think we're gonna all love deep diving on in the next week. So come back, join us, and it's gonna be a fun ride. It's gonna be a fun ride.